Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Menolounge. It's Tuesday. I'm Julie Gordon White, CEO of MenoWell, Menopause Energy and Protein Bars. We're talking about annual checkups we should have during menopause. And before I remind you that, I guess I'll just remind you, we have a sale for 2 more days, and you guys are buying up the double chocolate brownie and peanut butter combo like crazy. So 20% off, get them before the sale ends, because we don't go on sale that often. So get yours. Okay, we're talking about annual checkups today. And while I bring up Dr. LaReesa, I should say the first one is get a flu shot. Because if I'm a little flat today, like kind of wet hair, kind of fuzzy vest, kind of crinkly hat, it's because I am recovering from the flu. Woe is me. Put that on your list. Okay. That's my son FaceTiming. He's not supposed to FaceTime during the Menolounge. Got it. Okay, let's see. Oh my goodness. It's one of those days, people. Hang with me. Okay, Dr. LaReesa. Hey. Dr. LaReesa calling. Maybe this is the thing, when you have doctors on the show, sometimes they get stuck doing what they're, doctoring. So anyway, let's talk about the things that we know. Put them in the comments. Help me out today, you guys. I have the flu and I am doing my best. So flu shot, check. Number 2, I have a mammogram next week. Normally I have it during my birthday in April, but they sent me some dates. Who's having a mammogram? That's next. Let's see. Here's a question. How do I convince my gyno to give testosterone for low libido? I'm on a patch, blah, blah, blah. Great question. Remember, I'm not a doctor, but I will tell you that you need a success team around you, and that includes a gynecologist, a doctor that really understands and supports your needs. So that doesn't mean the doctor you have isn't good. It just means they may not support your needs. So you may need multiple doctors. I had 2 doctors. I have a menopause doctor and then my regular doctor. So I really recommend checking out the telehealth programs that specialize in menopause. We know Alloy, MIDI, Evernow, and there's a lot of other smaller ones cropping up all around you. So just search and find one, because you can have complementary care. It doesn't have to be one or the other. So I feel you, sis, and go find a doctor that can layer on the doctor you have. That at least you have a second opinion, and then you can make an informed decision for yourself. But you don't have to be stuck with one doc. All right. And you don't have to ditch the doc you have. I think that's the thing that we get nervous about. Let's see. Who did I just see? Just someone else just had a flu shot and a mammogram. You're my person, except for you forgot to remind me to get the flu shot. That's okay. Let's see. Dr. LaReesa. I don't see her here yet. Let me just double check. Doctor. This is when I start singing. It's bad. You know that. A bunch of other doctors are coming up. So where are we at? Flu shot, mammogram, testosterone check, if that's what you want to do. I love it. Sorry, guys. We've got Dr. LaReesa coming, and I know that's the challenge of having a doc on the show. Sometimes they're doctoring, and they'll get here when they get here. So we're talking about different annual exams during menopause. And some of the questions I have for Dr. LaReesa is, do we still need a cervical exam if you have a cervix? Do we still need, oh, here's one. Who's had a shingle shot? I think you're over 50. I have not, obviously, which is why I'm still asking, but I'm asking for a friend. Most of my friends have had them. I think I've just been avoiding the bad feeling that I think you get when you get it, but put in the comments, has anyone had a shingle shot? LaReesa, it's saying you're unable to join for some reason. Not sure what that is. Let's see, what else do you guys have? What have you done already this year? to get your shots going, or what do you have scheduled? I'd also love to know, do you keep a calendar, a plan, so you know every single year what thing you're supposed to get, or do you just wing it? I wait for my doctor to remind me. Not a good strategy. Oh, you said, yes, shingle shot. They aren't fun, but having shingles is the worst. Saw my husband surf on. Okay, adding to the pile. Here's LaReesa, I think. Let's see if we can grab her. Okay, I'm going to get that shingle shot. There you are.
Hey.
I knew you were doctoring somewhere.
Yes. How's it going?
You missed the part where I've been crying about I have the flu.
That's not
I
good.
I said that's why I have on the hat, the slightly wet hair, and the furry vest, like all the things, you know.
It's interesting because if you wouldn't have said anything, I would have been like, this is a fly look for you. It's a little edgy. I don't know. It looks good to me. I would have never known. You look
I
good.
shouldn't have said anything, huh? But you know, I can't
Yeah.
not say something because we're talking about things you're supposed to get, checkups. And I said, number one, get the damn flu shot, I guess.
Oh, yeah. That's a good one.
Okay, Dr. LaReesa, I'm going to turn it over to you because I'm just over here,
Okay.
la, 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 la. So let's let the real
Oh,
professional talk now. I already counseled somebody on getting testosterone from a doctor. I'm starting to get outside my nutrition lane. So go ahead.
it's all good. It's all good. That's all right. It's all right. Where do you want to start? I mean, I'm sorry, I'm just plugging in.
No,
But
yeah.
we're taking the wellness edge, and I love the conversation when we're going beyond an annual, is what I like to call it. A motto I say in my clinic is, let's go beyond the typical pap smear, because just because your ICD-9 code says a well woman exam, most of us don't feel well during that time period. And oftentimes it is based on a lot of preventive screening, which is important. However, at the same time, it's usually not the best time to go through many of the things that may be challenging for you. So I did Casey Fleming, which you know from the
Fuchsia
fuchsia
10?
tent.
Yes.
Yeah, the fuchsia tent. And that's been one of the things that we definitely love dialoguing on, is if you're going to go see your doctor, especially around this time, and you know there's some other things going on, definitely it's nothing wrong with making sure you're getting your preventive screening. But those pain points, those things that are keeping you up at night, those things that, hey, I'm on Insta, I'm on TikTok, I'm seeing all this, additional awareness across so many platforms in this time of life. Ask for a problem visit, not a well woman visit. All right.
Ooh.
You're going to be able to get a little bit more addressed during those visits because of how templates are usually blocked, how, it's focused on just those preventive screenings, which, like I said, it's not anything wrong. Like, I'm one that looks at it from, gosh, to have a screening to actually screen for cancer, that's good, right? It's nothing bad about that, or some of the risk factors that can be along with other screening, but we're not going to go down that rabbit hole. But essentially, you want to be able to address these things outside of just saying, okay, I'm going to do this, I'm going to ask my doctor on my annual visit, but I'm going to suffer the rest of the year because they didn't address it.
Right.
No, it's a way that you can navigate the system. If this is specifically like, hey, I want to call my doctor about my hot flashes, don't do it thinking like, oh, okay, my insurance is going to pay for my preventive visit. You're going to get let down most of the time. I'm not going to I'm not going to put a percentage on it or anything, but it's not going to be the visit that really is going to target many of the things that you probably want to address. And so I think you had mentioned like certain like preventive screenings
Well,
or
let me
how to
ask
kind of
you
address
first,
this.
just in
Mm-hmm.
case women aren't sure of just the basic preventive screenings, because
Mm-hmm.
that's
Yeah.
one of the things I was talking about. In menopause, do you still need things that you used to have? So
Mm-hmm.
let's talk just quickly about what are the basic minimal screenings you should have before we get in
Okay.
of the other
Okay.
stuff.
Yes, no worries. And so I'm actually going to set this up in a way where I'm going to use the usual way for women to come in for their gynecologic visit. Now, I'm going to weave some areas of what might be done on a primary care level, because depending on insurance carrier, et cetera, certain primary care doctors may do this specific screening that we're going to go into. And so you might get a little bit more evaluation with a primary care doctor because they're covering some other things versus your gynecologic visit. But there are some OBGYNs that may cover this. And this is your pap screening. All right. So a pap smear is an evaluation, in simplest terms, is a screening for cervical cancer. We started when we turned 21 years of age. And any sexually active woman usually will start them at the age of 21, and you will continue. Now, there are different guidelines based on a normal pap smear, and that has, swiftly changed over the years. But in general, your pap smears are done after you've established normals, and that you have what we call HPV positive, human papilloma virus positive, negative, sorry. High risk HPV is negative. Okay, let me make sure I correct that. Is negative, especially for women who are 30 and above, since this is a target audience. You might be told by your doctor, okay, well, you don't have to do a pap smear in 3 to 5 years, okay, unless you change partners, there's other risk factors involved, etc. All right, but this is where it gets granular. They're talking about a pap smear, not necessarily a checkup. And I want to weave things that I often find challenging to make sure that we're educating the right way. The pap smear is a test. It is done via a pelvic exam. Okay, so if you're having dribble or vaginal symptoms, but you call and they said, well, you can still do your wellness exam, but your doctor may not do a pap smear. You can still request a pelvic exam if you feel like something is going on down there, and that can still be part of your wellness checkup. Just because a lot of times we couple the test with just the usual screening versus, okay, this is a wellness visit where you can still do preventive evaluation, because excuse me, it may be something that you have an issue with or problem with, or something that's long-standing, that you may not go to your doctor just simply from what someone had informed you by making the phone call for an appointment. Okay.
Right. Well, so, and the fact that it's 3 to 5 years, that seems so long to me versus it used to be annually, but now you're older, so we don't need to see you. That is just, I don't know. I'm not a fan of that. I've demanded that a lot more frequently.
Yes, and it will. And that's often dictated by your insurance carrier. Your insurance carrier is saying that they will only cover it. And so when people find out that they may not have that test covered, they may go ahead along with, okay, we'll deferring it to that time. But that may also change other decision-making components that they should talk to their doctor about. And so there's specific situations, if you've had an abnormal pap before, if it's something that you've tested positive for before and you want a further evaluation. So just know, understanding your history, asking questions, I think that's the most powerful tool when you're coming in for a screening or a wellness visit, and seeing how that particularly personalizes best to your clinical and your health situation. Very important. Mammograms, of course, that is a big component, screening for breast cancer. And that age range starts around 40, and depending on your risk factors. So your risk factors as far as history of first degree relative hereditary cancers, testing BRCA positive, BRCA positive, or any other genetic mutations that may incline you to be more higher risk. You may start those evaluations earlier. But and so now part of the description also entails whether you're someone that has dense breasts versus not dense breasts at that time. So, and a lot of the routine is usually every 1 to 2 years. Within that first 10-year gap of 40 to 50, and then probably more regularly depending. What I will find is that, and this is just weaving some practical things, because there are different societies that say different things, right? So between the American Cancer Society or other breast organizations, I think instead of getting bogged down in those certain things, most of the time your preventive screening for even a mammogram will be covered on an annual basis. Okay. Excuse me. And I think another thing is making sure that we understand that most of any breast cancers are not hereditary. Majority of those that are affected by cancers of the breast are not hereditary. So it's important that still lifestyle to me is the most biggest risk factor for any particular cancer, and especially when it comes to the breast, because of course that affects women more than men. But even though the men's incidence of breast cancer is definitely there, and that prevalence has increased over the years. However, just making sure that you understand that that is part of a screening or preventing. Don't only base a lot from early diagnosis, meaning earlier treatment if something is abnormal.
When you say lifestyle, though, LaReesa, be specific. What do you mean by lifestyle?
Yes. So obesity is a big component, and smoking and over drinking is a big component of many of the risk factors for cancer. When patients come in to see me, I talk about optimizing your system. And what I mean that is like way back in the day when you go to school and you learn biology and how the cells, activate in your system and how your metabolism goes. At the end of the day, your body has a natural mechanism that is set to help defend, right? To defend you from foreign invaders and hopefully prevent cancers. Now, in the grand scheme of it all, many of the things that we eat may have hormone disruptors in it, overly processed foods, high sugars, like things that may affect how our cells behave and how our immune system responds to these foreign invaders. Okay. So if you're doing certain things over time that increase your risk of obesity, increase your body of chronic inflammation, increase your body's mechanisms of normally defending itself, it can potentially increase your risk of cancer, chronic disease, other cardiovascular or brain events. So we like to see it in a way of, if we're talking about lifestyle modifications, those things where you're eating a good macronutrient profile, things that you discuss, I know a lot with a lot of guests when we're talking about nutrition, balancing out high in veggies, high in those things that are going to be antioxidants, moving your body actively, like you detox different ways through breathing, through pooping, peeing, sweating, all of those things help your body work better. And so when you're activating on a singular, like biological level, not to get nerdy about it, but people get kind of washed between, okay, well, my metabolism is too low, or I need to do this, or I need to try this diet versus the next. Many of some of still the things that make a difference, even though you might have some genetic contributors and other outside factors, has to do with behavior modification. Making sure that these are things that you can actively be able to do that fit your lifestyle. Because many times I don't have people like, oh, okay, Doc, I'm going from the couch to whatever's next. A lot of times I just want to get you moving, so this might be the person. I'm not going to put on a straight strength training, because I know just the momentum to get them moving and to get those lifestyle changes makes a difference, because it has
from zero to something.
Yeah, exactly. Like a
I
couch
love
to
what you're
5K
saying,
type thing.
because these are things that positively impact our annual checkups, right? So we have these checkups so we can monitor what's going on the inside, but we can do so many things to tip the scales, the scores in our favor, just with lifestyle. It's so boring. It's so boring and basic that we don't want to do it. We're looking for the quick fix. I grew up in diet culture, like all those same things. Let's do this, the slim fast, and let's just eat cabbage, whatever. It's basic and boring, but it works. It's really boring and sexy. It really is. Let's
That's what the financial people have always said, right? Like no matter what in wealth management, anything I've attended has said, I need people to be more boring about money. Because if you
Exactly.
focused on the boring things, you'll make money. You
And
know,
that is the
everybody's
thing.
chasing the next golden geese and egg and the new silver something, that at the end of the day, just do certain things consistently.
That's the thing.
Well,
That's
that's
right.
the thing.
That stacks the odds for those annual checkups to be in our favor. But
Mhm.
whew, it's hard to do, right? When social media, everything is just coming out of try this, do that, da, 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 da. Okay,
And then you
all
don't know
right,
what's real or not, right? Like, so
right. And
this,
then
the
there's that.
AI is getting out of control really these
That
days.
too, that too. Okay, so
Hmm.
we've got some good annual basic stuff. Blood work
Hmm.
every year.
Yes, and
Blood
then I do
hormone.
want to mention colonoscopy, and even with the introducing of, hey, you don't even need to go get a colonoscopy. I know I needed to because of my family history, and it actually was a very positive experience because I don't know about you, but when you feel like I have good sleep, but then when you have really good sleep for a colonoscopy,
Okay, yeah.
yeah, that was
I'm glad I'm not the
yes.
only one. Like, oh, my colonoscopy was so amazing.
It's
I
like you feel cleaned out and you sleep
oh,
well.
so
Yeah.
rested, so fresh as a daisy. I know, but
Yeah.
and then why, as we get older, we end up talking about like poop related things.
Oh my gosh.
But the
Okay,
truth,
sorry.
I was worried because
Mm-hmm.
Cologuard, they just send you that
Mm-hmm.
Cologuard and then I said, okay, I'm getting to the end of my 50s here. I think I should.
Yeah.
No, you're fine. Your Cologuards are
Mm-hmm.
great. Give me my colonoscopy. They're like,
Give it,
okay,
yes.
okay.
And please know you can request for more testing than you think, so, and you can have an honest conversation with your provider. I know all of providers are not created equal, but at this point, especially when people are spending more time in educational spaces on social media and in the internet than they are in their own doctor's office, we just have to be prepared for these questions. We or to know that they're going to come. And I think there's a way to communicate it where a patient doesn't feel dismissed. I've loved recently that I've had people just tell me, hey, I'm coming to you because honestly, my physician just told me they weren't comfortable and they felt like they just needed me to be with someone that could spend the time and the effort and whatever. And it was just that point of communication of, okay, I went there for my wellness visit and they did this, and like I didn't feel dismissed. They heard me, but they pointed out that they're probably not the best people for me. And I think that's a different conversation that really makes it more a positive experience for a
I
patient.
respect that big
So,
time, big
mhm,
time. Here, Little Blue
absolutely.
Angel says, can
Hmm.
hemorrhoids turn into cancer or can they indicate that something is wrong?
Okay. And then they have a follow-up.
Okay,
I do want to disregard it. Okay, got it. I'll just take it all in one. And first of all, I like your handle, Little Blue Angel. I just feel like there's a story behind that. It's beautiful. So as far as I know, and this is speaking from dealing with a lot of, I haven't managed a hemorrhoid outside of when they come in for their visits doing OB over so many years, or et cetera. But hemorrhoids themselves do not increase your risk of cancer. However, if there is a hemorrhoid like related to pregnancy, oftentimes it's because the mechanics of pregnancy you expect it. If there's a hemorrhoid because you're chronically constipated, then obviously that root cause needs to be discussed because you don't want hemorrhoids to get worse. Because let me tell you, the times that I've managed people, whether they're pregnant or not, or I'm just consulting or what have you, and I'm not even usually a GI specialist or basically a general surgeon is one who's managing this. They are painful when they get bad, right? So I always say, or I mention to people, hey, if it's something that's been there at least, hey, make sure you get that checked out. If you're having early rectal bleeding, it could be, an open vascular area of it because these are just protruding, veins from that area. That can be painful. It can be disruptive. And oftentimes, if you notice it's gotten bigger, cause more problems with intimacy as well as, passing stool, then you don't want it to get worse.
mm-hmm.
So those are reasons to go get something evaluated.
And
I'm
fiber.
sorry
I
that,
gotta say
yeah,
fiber.
yeah. Anything with gut health. I mean, gut is your second brain. Everything's going back to the microbiome, even specifically to future treatments and modifications of even things that we do on a routine basis, just based on understanding the microbiome. I said this the other day, and I didn't realize that it was going to be so effective. But just remember, bacteria and viruses outnumber people, and they've been here since the Stone Age.
Yeah,
So
one
they've
got me
learned.
on the weekend for sure.
Yes. Those buggers know how to survive, right? They've mutated, they have variations, they bring their cousins. I mean, like they just know how to survive. So we have to be very vigilant of how we treat our bodies and build our immune system
Mm.
and reduce those things that can compromise our system as well.
Wash your
So
hands. Wash your
yeah,
dang
well, oh,
hands.
have you seen that series of things? I'm not on, like, I'm sorry, y'all, if I've had to take a break from social media on a regular basis. 2026 is
Right.
opening different doors. But um, have you seen some of the stuff? Someone sent me, I think a patient of mine sent me something about, I guess it was something went viral about people who don't wash their hands on a regular basis and feel like people shouldn't or don't need to.
It's like not taking a shower. You build up your immune system or something. Wash your damn hands. Wash. I'm talking to myself as I went out to do one thing this weekend, and then 24 hours later, bam.
I know. I'm like it. I'm like the one you don't want to see me in an airport bathroom because I'm more like vigilant of watching.
You're
Like,
going
okay, I'm
into
making sure I'm
surgery.
not on exactly. And on top of it, those who don't, I'm like, I need to make sure that person's not on my flight.
Right.
Like, no, yeah,
I have a
yeah,
lot of
it's the
flying to
best.
do. A lot of flying. Speaking of M Factor film screenings, M Factor 2, I already got
Two,
a
yeah, I was gonna say
preview of
two.
it. So I will
I
see you
want a preview.
everywhere. I will see you everywhere. LaReesa, you need to join us.
Okay. I
Oh my
know
gosh.
we need to have a side cover. I'm planning my trips, so this is part of my, oh my God, do I want to unveil this here? I don't know if I want to unveil this here, but
Unveil it.
yeah, it's my road to 50 this
Yes. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. All
year.
right. We got some
Yeah,
trips
I'm
to do.
excited about it. Yes, I'm excited. So what I'm doing, the twist on me is just to put it out there. I know we're talking about wellness and everything, but wellness is also emotional wellness and the preventive things that we do, or even your primary stuff. There's something called the and watch only because I'm online. I'm gonna state this wrong, but it's your depression screen scale. It's
Mhm.
a specific questionnaire that is done oftentimes. So if they're asking you these questions about, oh, okay, have you lost interest? Do you feel tired and more days than you want? Do you feel like lost of eating more or eating less? So there's different factors that goes into that. And that is part of an annual screening. A lot of times we touch it toward a test. And I know you mentioned blood tests, and we'll touch on that. But understand these are also screenings to help with our emotional well being.
Yeah.
There's a lot of things that have changed on the landscape, especially after COVID. And there are many people who are still suffering post COVID.
Mhm.
So just understanding your mental health, those contributors to what helps balance some of those emotional limitations of what we may even, suffer day to day, impacts a lot of things about your health.
Yeah.
Impacts, from whether you go to the doctor, whether you decide momentum of, hey, I want to start some nutrition versus really becoming, recluse from the things that you really like to do. So understand those are important screenings as well.
I'm
Um,
really glad you brought that up because
mhm,
we skip over mental health, and especially during menopause, because our hormones are fluctuating forever. And even if you don't
mhm,
have any, if you're on hormone replacement therapy or just, winging it, that can create a lot of emotional ups and downs. And I think it's really important that
mhm,
we do a screening, speak to somebody once a year. Am I feeling okay? Or not even waiting
mhm,
once a year. But if you're not feeling like yourself for too long,
mhm,
that's a really important thing to check out and not just tuck it aside like, oh, I'm just tired, or the way we do, dismiss ourselves. So
mhm.
I'm really glad you brought that up because that's not something that we think about as part of
Mhm.
the checkups to have. Okay, let's
Yes.
touch on
Mhm.
blood tests, and then if there's one other special thing or anything else you want to bring up, because I know we're 30 minutes and I know you got
Hmm.
doctoring to do. So,
Well, actually, it's more now children to do now.
oh,
But
children, same thing, urgent.
urgent, urgent, urgent. So some of the routine things, or it may change depending on your medical background. But if it was things that have said, oh, okay, if you're my doctor or if you're someone that it may not be considered screening on a traditional panel, those things that I feel give a lot of runway of not only preventing, but also making sure that there's early detection, even though it may not be abnormal, meaning like people tend to look at the results and see, oh, okay, it's all in the green, I'm good, versus there could be certain areas in there where you can identify, well, technically, this is kind of borderline, and why are you having this, and let that be a KPI or a key performance indicator to if we're starting a new treatment or something that we should follow up on in 6 months or maybe waiting less than a year based on stuff. So doing a complete and metabolic panel, which is just, checking your blood count and your electrolytes and everything, to me is always a good place to start every year. Doing a hemoglobin A1C. This is just an evaluation of how your blood sugars are over the last 3 months. But I see it as a sign of, hey, is someone becoming more insulin resistant? All right.
Mhm.
Insulin is a big time hormone that oftentimes if someone asks me, okay, in the grand scheme of things, if I am treating or evaluating and managing someone for HRT, mine goes like for hormones or evaluation of anything is one, we're going to look at all the lifestyle factors first, from sleep, mind body connection, nutrition, fitness. But if we're talking about the cancellation of things, I'm looking at your thyroid first. So doing a screening of your thyroid and looking at how your body functions in blood sugar management. And then we are evaluating from the standpoint of looking at a lipid panel. I've been doing extended lipid panels for a while. This is where we're looking at more a deep evaluation of additional risk factors that can be more pro-inflammatory for the vascular system. Excuse me. And it related to the age range and if someone is menstruating, because there's certain labs as far as from hormonal that need to be evaluated depending on where someone is in their cycle, if it's something specifically going on that needs to be tended to. But it doesn't mean automatically that someone's going to get all the time, hormone related labs. It has to be unique to that situation. But I do often do some baseline labs, but it would make a difference whether someone's menstruating or not. I like to do a urinalysis on everybody every year. I like to look at the
Really?
P. I do. I do.
No doctor has ever said that since,
I
are you
have.
pregnant or not?
Yeah, I know, right? But that's one of my annual tests I like. I like to look at the pH of the urine. I like to see if someone has microscopic hematuria, which is blood in the urine that you can't see, frankly, yourself, but for some reason is showing up there. But I like that as a good baseline, like once, because you never know. A lot of women, oh, this is a question. So we're going to do labs, and then I'm already like trying to reach for the next thing in the last few moments we have. I think I've covered that from, I like to do fasting insulins, just to see how someone is, especially if they had a history of PCOS, or weight management issues. And then there's some advanced testing because I'm more in personalized medicine anyway. But cluing into those areas from your complete blood count, your metabolic panel, getting thyroid evaluation. I tend to do a full panel when it talks about thyroid because you can have a normal screening test, but I also do antibody testing. Blood sugar management from the way of looking at your fasting insulin, your hemoglobin A1C, and even looking at what was your fasting glucose on your metabolic panel,
Mm-hmm.
a urinalysis, an extended lipid panel, which is looking at your cholesterol and other segments of that. I know I'm missing something. And then some pro-inflammatory things like CRP or C-reactive protein. But you had asked about screening. And so in training or different things, you may have certain things that you're asking someone. And so these are my practical. I tend to ask a lot about the like high key symptoms that people may be experiencing in perimenopause, menopause, probably around right between 35 and 40. Like I start asking those questions early
Good
because
on you.
people start
You
downplaying.
weren't even
And
menopausal when you started doing it.
I know, but I'm just saying I realized that we normalize so many things. Like, oh, oh yeah, I've had 10 babies. Oh yeah, I dribble when I pee. Oh, it's just, I jump and.
Well, if you
But
have 10, come on.
that's the thing.
Okay.
Someone can be 40 something and I'm just like, what? Am I just waiting for you to just like drench your diaper in pee by 50? It's like you have to but I'm saying that in a serious
Yeah,
way
no, I
because
know.
I
I
want us
know.
to stop normalizing. Every
Right.
time I see that little panty commercial that says it has different colors and to catch your pee, I'm just like, okay, for those there where there's no point of return, and this is like, hey, I got me a pretty panty that's adjustable to my body size and everything, great. But for someone in their early 30s, 40s, 50s, looking at that as their only option, that's where I have to draw the buck,
Right.
because many of these things may be potentially something that can be investigated, improved, so you will not have to age feeling like you're going through like these different colored panties that is going to catch your drip, or I can't do a jumpy jack because of jump or
Right.
drip. So I think screening.
Or jump on what do you call it?
Oh, trampoline,
I need
or
something
just
for Grace.
running, right? Or just
Because
running
that
is
is
so
a
cute.
no. No, 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 no.
So yeah, so I think that's a good screening. I don't want any of the bone health specialists to get mad at me if I don't mention this. So um, bone density test, and looking at risk factors for that. A lot of people feel like you got to wait to 65. No, you don't. Especially if you feel like, hey, I've had a history, or I've had a lot of injuries, or I got my ovaries removed at an early age, or I've been on Depo-Provera for a long period of time, some type of contraception where you may not have been producing enough estrogen, enough to build those things. Like I have diagnosed osteoporosis in women in their early 40s and 30s, just simply because they've been on Depo all their life, you know? So
Wow.
and so it's important to review those things, but most importantly, some of the screening questions to find out how we can address some of the things that bother you more often than you think that you're normalizing. So
Okay, the big
sorry.
takeaway for me is to
Uh-huh.
reach out to you and book an appointment. You can actually have Dr. LaReesa as your doctor or as your health consultant, your
Yes.
health advisor on your health success team. That's to
Yes.
me the biggest takeaway because there are so many things we can do, like top
Mm-hmm.
line, baseline, but there's so many other things that you can ask that might add to your own experience. Why
Mm-hmm.
not understand that? Why not
Mm-hmm.
understand that?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
lucky for me,
Thank
I
you
can
for that.
just slack you, but everyone else.
We need to do like our usual catch up. Like Julie's been one of those people for sure, and I
Uh-oh.
can speak to a
You're
mutually,
breaking up.
you know.
You're breaking up. You're
Oh, can
breaking
you
up
hear
here.
me? No. Okay. Forget it. Never mind.
Okay. But the sentiment was good. And by the way,
Yes.
Tracy Renee said HRT, yes. I'm like, I'm with you.
Yay.
Okay. LaReesa, that is
Awesome.
the universe and the Menolounge God saying I have to let you go. Go
Okay.
be a doctor,
No
go be your
problem.
mommy, all the super things that
Thank
you
you.
are. Thank
All
you.
right.
We'll
Thank
pull
you.
out
Get
points
better.
with all the
Get
things.
better.
Thanks.
Get
I
better.
actually feel better talking to you and just being on with
Oh,
everybody
good.
today because I was definitely having a pity party this morning. I am not gonna lie.
Oh
Okay.
my
All
gosh.
right.
Okay.
And we have two
Yeah.
days
I'll have to
left on
tell
the
you my
sale.
secret.
Go get your
Okay.
bars.
Take care. Get your bars. Take care, everybody. Bye.
Bye. Thank you. Thank you. MenoWell.